Joey Sacavitch, welcome to the Forward One podcast. And this is part 2 of our business planning clinic, which again, as I had said before, I used to teach in a day and a half. You had it knocked down to 4 hours. And let me tell you the brutal truth. And the brutal truth is, if you do not have a plan for 2026, you are volunteering for failure. So this is part 2. Thanks for tuning in. And this is going to be our lead generation model.
Yes. So now that we know the mechanics of the finances of our goal, now we can start moving that into how many people do I need to know to achieve my goal, right? How many people do I need to interact with to achieve my goal? And do my contacts already have a certain amount of opportunity built into them?
I love it. I'm going to use our $500,000 sale price model. So we're still at 40 units. Okay. So we're committed to doing 40 units, $500,000
Yep.
per. So we're looking at 40 units in order to achieve $500,000 in GCI, and that's going to net us $200,000 a year. So I will go ahead and I'm going to pause for 1 second on the goal, because the top level goal, and now I'm going to talk about my goal setting through very quickly.
Please.
And that is that one thing that I've learned is, we talked earlier about you have no plan. You have a goal, but you haven't written it down. You have a goal. You're ahead of way more than 50% of the people. Great. So now you have this goal. You're in the top 50 percentile for sure. You don't write it down. Your chance of success is under 5%. Now we're writing it down. We're going through it. We're going to increase that by at least 50%. Then we're going to knock it down to daily activities. We're going to get another 75% bump. I'm going to say this to you, and that is, goal versus commitment. And I'm going to tell you, in this particular model, I am absolutely committed to doing $200,000 of net profit. And so what I am saying to everyone who's listening is that I'm going to invite them to do goal setting through. And that is, if you must have $200,000, that we take our whole model and we put our model to plus 20% on that. And plus 20%, let's just go right at the units, okay? So that we're not going to build our plan around 40 units, because we must have 40 units. So what we're going to do is we're going to build our plan around 48 units. And that way I know, hey, if we hit our plan, that's great. We've done better. If we fall a little behind, we're still good. If we fall a little more behind, we're still good.
If you're building a machine to achieve 48 sales in any particular year, the chances are that means that machine consists of the activities to achieve that. The number of people I talk to daily, weekly, monthly, the number of appointments that I make daily, weekly, monthly. If you're building that for 48, 40 is going to be a swim.
I love it.
Right?
Let's build it.
Yep.
Build it for me.
All right. So the first place we look is at our database. And in our database, the statistics show that in any given year, if you have a plan to stay connected, and in Keller Williams, we work off the 36 touch kind of concept. That means that we connect with our clients at least 36 times a year. And that's, what's that, 3 times a month, right? And so in that, if we are doing a combination of emails, meetups, text, and any other form of connectivity, events and the such, that 6% of those people will have the need for real estate services in any given year. So if you have 1,000 people in your database, 6% is 60 people will have needs for real estate services. You cut that in half, And half of them, if you are staying connected to them in a systematic way, will reach out to you for conversation on it, to expose you to that opportunity, at which point it's yours to win or lose, right? So inside the first thing is to look at your database, how many people you have in it. And we're talking about METs, people who know you and who know what you do, right? Mm-hmm. That's where you want to start. So if you have 1,000 people in there, you have 60 people, 0.5 of that are going to reach out to you. That's 30 opportunities a year. If, based on your conversion rates of appointments and such, there's built-in opportunity. Right? If you're falling short of your goal, in this particular case, we need 40 sales, right? Or 48 sales, I should say. And if we have 1,000, then that's 30 opportunities right there. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right there for the picking. So that leaves a gap of 18 units. So you do the math on that, and 18. You're better at math. 18 units would do how many contacts do we need to achieve 18 more?
Okay,
right.
So
that's where it starts.
Let me recap this quickly.
Please.
And that is, what you're saying is that 6% of your database is going to transact.
And only half of them will reach out to you, mm-hmm. right? Half of them will reach out to you if you are systematically staying connected to them.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And I'm going to give you another stat, which is, I look it up all the time because, it gets fuzzy in my brain. But I just looked it up and I got hardcore stats on it. Mm-hmm. National Association of Realtors. By the way, there's a slight difference between buyers and sellers, but when you average it together, they will survey someone after they complete a transaction. They'll survey a seller after they've completed the sale. They'll survey a buyer after they've gotten into the home. They might ask them 10 or 15 questions. And the bottom line question is, did the realtor that you use, did they do a good enough job that you would use them again and recommend them to friends and family to use? And when you combine the buyers and the sellers and it really is 90%.
Yeah.
So 90%. Who
say they would.
Yeah. At the time.
At the time.
And then when it comes time to actually buy again or sell again, they're all the way down into roughly the 15% range.
Used to be around 18. And that's on us as business people, mm-hmm. That we're dropping the ball in staying connected, in being of value to them after the transaction. We spend so much effort in getting the opportunity. And once we transact, most people just, they allow that opportunity to just float off into the ether. If you stay connected to them in a systematic way, they want to do business with you, right? It's your responsibility to maintain that connective tissue and to be of value.
One of the other things that you said was that 6% of your database will transact. If you're staying in touch with them, that half of them will reach out to mm-hmm. you. But if you're staying in touch with them enough, why would they, if you're really doing 36 touches, you're touching them, let's just say 3 times a month. Why do they have to reach out to you? I mean, aren't you really reaching out to them?
Yes, you are maintaining a connection to them, but we're talking about human beings here, right? And there are a lot of variables in that decision making. You have a new sister-in-law who's a realtor. Mm-hmm. You are not paying attention at the level. I think that's most of it. Probably human, just not paying attention to that connection, mm-hmm. right? As well as we're trying to keep it alive, half of it goes away.
And let me break down the database the know, like, and trust, because we consider the real sphere of influence people that you can point out and say, yeah, they know me. So they go, who is Paul Morris? Like, yeah, we know Paul. They like me. Like, wow, yeah, good guy. And they trust me to do a real estate transaction for them. Know, like, and trust. And if you're one of the things when somebody's brand new, it's cliche already because we've done it so many times, but we'll do it again. You go, here's your database, right? Go in, see how many people are in your phone. Then go through your phone and see, I've got some garbage data in my phone for sure. But just start with the A's and go through and pull out, who falls into the know, like, and trust. So I've got, Jerry, the gardener from 12 years ago. If I call him, does he even remember me? Whatever that is. Okay. So, but know, like, and trust. And so I would segregate out the know, like, and trust. And that is the start of your database. And even if you're brand new to an area, you're still going to have know, like, and trust. And then I would track that number. So how big is your database and how big is your know, like, and trust, and get that number down, and meaning get solid on that number. And then if you don't have enough people in your database in order to generate it, because one of the examples that you gave is you're like, okay, well, I have 1,000. And so that's going to generate 60 people are going to transact out of that 1,000. And if I'm staying on top of them, I can really count on 30 sales. But really what we're after is 48.
30 opportunities for a sale. It's still on you to convert, right?
Okay.
It's not 30 with no work. It's 30 that are knocking on your door.
Okay. So I'm going to start out with 60. I'm going to say, Joey, I'm really going to stay on it. So I don't think it's going to be, I don't need 50% to reach out to me. I'm going to get way higher than that. I'm going to get, if I'm really touching them 3 times, if I'm really doing it, really touching them 3 times a month, that I'm going to get, 45 opportunities. And of that 45 opportunities, how many of those should I be able to convert?
You should be able to convert 70% of those. Yeah.
So let's just round that down a little bit and say, now we're back down to the 30.
Yep.
So now I've got 30 deals from my sphere. If my sphere is 1,000. Now, if my sphere is 500 or if my sphere is 100, one of the things I'm going to do in 2026 is I'm going to say, hey, my sphere is 200. And that's awfully small given how much I want to do. So I would set a goal to add a certain number of people to my database per week.
Right. So then when we get into the 135, which is the next piece of this, is what activities am I doing to get more people into my plan, right? There's another layer that we haven't even spoken of yet, which is of that same database, 4% will give you a referral. Half of that, cut that in half also, right? For expectations. So it really turns out to be 2% will have the opportunity for a referral, right?
And what I'm going to say to you is, I'm really going to stay in touch with them. So just like you said, 6% really is 3%. And I'm saying, no, it's going to be out 4.5. And now 4%, I'm going to say, you know what? That's 3%.
And here's my pushback on you. For referrals, I'm going to push back a little bit, because referral is someone thinking about you and connecting you. It's not their need. It's someone else's need. And the drop off in thinking about others is much more dramatic than thinking about yourself.
And I'm going to stick right with you. I'm going to say that 4% is already 50% lower. And cutting that in half to 2%, even if I'm staying in touch with them, I'm sticking with you. I'm not going to increase that number because I think you're right. I think that I personally have clients that have said, I will never use anybody but Paul ever again. And I need to up my game a little bit. We'll get somebody on the podcast that's going to show us how to get better referrals, and I'm going to learn from that. I've had a bit of a hard time getting referrals from those people.
Yeah, it's human nature because they're putting themselves on the line when they're referring you.
So now
You're an extension of their, personal brand.
So now of my 1,000 in my database, 60 are going to transact. I'm going to go ahead and give myself a bump up, and I'm going to say I'm going to get 45 opportunities out of that. I'm going to convert 30 of them. Now I'm a little short. I'm going to take your 4%, which is going to be 40 of the 1,000, but I'm going to go ahead and take I'm only going to get 2%.
Yeah.
So that's going to be 20. And then let's say I get, 10 of those. I'll even go lower. So 10 of those, now I'm at my 40, but we're shooting for 48. We're still shy. In my database, 60 out of 1,000 are going to transact. And then 40, you're telling me are possible referrals, but that I'm only going to get half of those. So that's going to be 20.
Right.
And then I'm only going to close, I think, even less of those. So I'm going to say I'm going to close 10 of those.
All right. So that takes
now
that 30
40
to 40. And so then it is, how do we close that gap? How many more people do we need? We need 10 more, around 10 more people. Let's say 10 more people.
10 more transactions.
So in that, we need around 200 new people in our database
of
to get
know, like, and
to fill
trust.
that gap of 10 opportunities.
Do you know everything we've just talked about is sphere of influence?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you together with me, we'll work on this together.
Sure.
Rattle off some other sources, because sphere of influence is big. Okay.
It's the number one piece you should focus on, module of your business that you should focus on first. How do I be of value to them? How do I communicate that value to them in a systematic way? And then it's like, what activities or what other big goals in getting those 200 people or more opportunities? So of course there's farming, which is a combination of marketing and door knocking in a geographic or demographic area or group of people. There's networking, there's internet leads, I don't care, what are you passionate about? Share your passion with people. If you like to cook, have a dinner party once a week and invite 10 new people, right? Get close to other human beings in any way you possibly can. A lot of the value that we need to add is additional to real estate. It's not all about real estate. It's, the best school or or who at the best school that you can help somebody with. What you want to get into with your sphere is, how can I help them achieve what they're trying to achieve, right? And to do that, you need to get in close, and they need to trust you.
So sphere of influence, number one, networking. I'm going to break that down and say that networking can take many forms, and that I would definitely go into networking that is something that you're very passionate about.
If you are.
Weirdly enough, some of my passions have been, like, one of my passions was table tennis. Very passionate about that. I don't know why. The massive number of people that I ran into playing table tennis was not a high demographic. They were not buying and selling $5 million houses.
Yeah.
These were people that were, renting down the street and didn't have the income to buy. So that was not, I was passionate about it. It was not a good, networking situation for me. So you want to go where you're passionate, and then also, where is that audience? When people say to me, hey, I want to move, in our neck of the woods, sorry, prices are higher. It would be like this, I sell, $2 to $3 million houses all the time. I represent buyers in $2 to $3 million houses all the time. But, I'm really listing, $1 million, $1 million to $1.5 million. Normally the buyers, they can represent higher ticket buyers. They have a harder time with the sellers. Their number's a little lower. And they go, I want to list $5 million houses. Mm-hmm. First thing is go where people are that have $5 million houses that they're going to sell.
What are the activities that they do? Where do they play? Where do they worship? Where do they relax? Right? You have to align yourself. We sent our kids to private schools, and there were people there who bought and sold for personal use $50, $100 million houses, right? And there were people there who bought and sold $2 million houses, right? You have to be purposeful about not just being in the club, but being in a position of influence where people actually want to share that passion with you. One of my top agents loves golf, right? So, I coach him to join the country club, spend the $100,000 to join the right country club in the neighborhood where you want to do business, right? He does so. Then then it's like, well, you better be good at golf too, right? Good, right? And love it, right? Which he does. Then he gets asked to be on the new members board. Of course, you would like to be on the new members committee. So you're meeting new members. You're taking them out for a round of golf and see if they're a fit. Then you're asked to be on the board of directors of the country club. Showing up in that kind of high level way has put you in front of people, but also, hey, if you like me over here, you're going to like me over here, right? Mm-hmm. If you trust me to be on the board of directors for your country club, then you should trust me on transacting the sale or purchase of your house.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Definitely, I would network in an area where people are buying and selling the homes that you want to represent, and then network in a place where you can really add value, demonstrate that value. Not in real estate, you're demonstrating that value. When I was at that school, I knew that I wanted to give back to the school. It wasn't necessarily to get leads for sure. And there were, positions, they'll take you on anything, there were positions on like the PTA or whatever, and I just like, if I had anything to do with the PTA, I would be so bad that anybody would look at me and go, we would never want him to represent us in a house because, scheduling the thing with it's just not my forte.
Sure.
On the other hand, they recognized that I had sales ability and they put me in charge of the capital fund. Mm-hmm. And so I was helping other parents, other parent volunteers, here's how we can raise money. Here's how we can do it in a way that's not obnoxious. Here's how we can do, that's holding the teams accountable. It's basically what I do at work.
Yep.
So that was something I could do well in. I'm going to touch some of these real quick. Social media. I'm going to think about 3 social media accounts here in LA that I love. And I'm not going to name names. And one of them has massive following, very high-end houses, really great engagement, okay? Has not sold a house. The reason why is because he is touring and showing, done beautifully. So he's getting a lot of likes, he's getting a lot of follows, he's getting a lot of engagements in the $20 million house range. He's never sold a house in the $20 million house range. People were like, love to look at it. Now when they go to buy or sell, they're going to go to somebody else. Not effective. Another one of my favorite accounts, also a guy I consider to be a friend, and his account is so good that, like, I don't need to see the $20 million house tour. Sure. I understand why it's great for the general public. Mm-hmm. I've seen enough. If I want to go see him, I'm here. I'll go walk through, which I love to do. We do it together. All good. I don't need the video. Okay. So not for me, but it's great. The other guy does like this historical, oh, here's this building and here's the history behind it in LA. And I'm like, oh, I've been driving by that building and I've been wondering, what is that thing? One of them is this like crazy concrete structure and it's up in the hill. And I'm like, what is that? It's like, oh, it's Bono's house, the lead singer for U2. And he put, this massive concrete structure that hangs over the thing that's his swimming pool. It has a glass thing so you can see through it. I'm like, wow, that's what that thing is. Not selling a lot of real estate with that information. I'm like, they should give this guy a TV show. I would watch his TV show, but he's not selling a lot of real estate. Third person who we know and like, and he has a lot of penetration too. Maybe more than guy one, maybe less than guy two. Maybe he's right in between. He's got a lot of penetration, but what he's doing on social media, but what he's doing is he is touring and explaining houses that are in his wheelhouse. He buys and sells. He represents buyers and sellers in these particular houses all day long. I'm going to go ahead and say his name because he's a buddy of ours, and that's Jose Prats. And Jose listen, he does a great job on all houses, but he really has a niche with original Spanish. There's lots of original Spanish out here. They generally don't sell for a ton of money. Why? Because the original Spanish houses are not 20,000 square feet. They're small houses. They're built 1920s and before. They could get up to, you could find one for $8 million, but generally they're in the $1.5 million, $2 million range. It's his bread and butter. He is showing, I'm an expert in this area, and here are the ones I've sold in this area. And he's actually leveraging social media. It's really, to be honest with you, the only person that I know that's leveraging their social media account to get business.
He is, and to that point, he is getting business from social media. And I believe it's that niche and that passion for that niche that has people calling him and saying, hey, even if they list with somebody else, they're calling him and saying, hey, my house is on the market. Will you do a tour of it? Right? That's the way it starts. And then, and gradually people are also calling him and saying, hey, you are the context that I want my house in. Right?
I love it. I'm going to go through just a couple of other ones, and then we got to get to the 135. And that is, farming, which is a geographic area. And the way that you farm is you send out postcards, which is highly ineffective. Okay. That is
on its own.
It's marketing versus prospecting. Prospecting is always going to win. It can be supported by marketing. Marketing alone, you're not going to sell a house. You're going to spend a bunch of money. So you're going to go ahead and door knock or cold call that area. You're going to support it by some written materials. You're going to drop it off. It's going to be a thing of value. When you walk around, you door knock, you're offering a thing of value. Tune into Forward One. We have episodes on door knocking. We have episodes on farming. They'll tell you how to do it. Another one is what we call circle prospecting. And circle prospecting is basically farming, door knocking around a listing. Okay. Sure. And by the way, doesn't have to be your listing. Nope. So now this is a listing in my farm. I didn't get the listing. I'm going to pick 200 houses around it. I'm going to knock on all the doors and be like, hey, do you see 123 Elm Street is for sale? I've got all the information on it. I'm not lying that it's not my listing. I'm working this neighborhood. Joey, I'm knocking on your door. Have you seen 123 Elm Street? It's for sale. You say, yeah, I've seen it. I know all about it. Beat it. I go, okay, thanks. Here's some information. See you. You go, no, I didn't know 123 Elm Street is listed. Is that your listing? And I go, no, it's not my listing, but I pay attention to everything that gets sold in this area. I'm an expert in the area. Let me give you some information about 123 Elm Street. And here's when it's open. And, even if you're not interested in looking, you should at least see what's going on. And by the way, are you interested in buy or selling?
Imagine the power of farming, where you are door knocking, where you are, a part of the country club in that neighborhood, where you are on the board of that country club, where you have a bus bench right outside the country club, and then you're circle prospecting in that neighborhood, and you are throwing an event or two every year. You're doing some shred event. It's the culmination, and then they're receiving a postcard from you every quarter. The culmination of all those layers, or what bring your brand to life in any particular farm. And it's really, it takes all of that participation, right?
Yep.
You go to the neighborhood association. Hey, why don't you even be on the neighborhood association, right? You're participating at a high level that people associate you with that area.
I love it. Joey, thank you again. Last time we hit the economic model, that's like, what's the math that we need to figure out in order to know where we're going? Knowing where we're going, very helpful. It's the compass. But now what do we do? How do we row the boat? Where's the gasoline for the engine? How are we going to get to those places we need to, that we know that we're going to go? And that is the lead gen model. And that's what we handled today. So how many opportunities are coming out of the lowest hanging fruit, which is our sphere of influence? We handled that. Then what are we going to do when our sphere of influence doesn't provide enough for us to get to where we're absolutely committed to go? And then lastly, what are a few different ways to lead generate that we haven't been doing before that we can add to our arsenal and therefore create the engine that's going to take us to where we're going in 2026. So thanks for sharing that with me.
My pleasure.